hold on, the serious voice, graphics that would make you in awe. This must be very special. Ladies and gentlemen, Fernando Alonso, the man, the myth, the sometimes toxic, is back. I have told you, yes, well, actually, no, come to think of it, I haven't said anything on Fernando Alonso about this channel, but that's okay, because he's back. I told somebody, okay, so I didn't tell you, but I told somebody he was back, and I wasn't right. So, if have you learned anything from this video in the 1 minute and 18 seconds it's been on, you will know that I should always be trusted. So, what should we talk about? The fact that Renault can't find anybody experienced enough than Fernando Alonso? The fact that Alonso came back not in a championship winning car? Let's dive into all that interesting things, shall we? So if you do not know who Fernando Alonso is, then no need to fear. He's only a two-time world champion that beat the living crap out of Michael Schumacher. Well, that's not entirely fair to say. In fact, that's really not fair to say at all, but we won't worry about that too much. He is an incredibly talented man. He started his own fashion line, Kamoa, and in some of these clips, courtesy of Formula One, you might see it there. Pretty nice stuff, pretty expensive stuff as well, but I do recommend buying it. I don't actually have anything myself from it, but we won't worry about that. So, Fernando Alonso, two-time world champion, 38 race winner, times race. I really should do my homework before these videos, but yeah, here we go. He is back. So he originally started off with Renault, which is what makes this actually really cool. He then went to McLaren. McLaren. He then went to Ferrari, where it was quite abysmal. He then went back to McLaren, and then he retired because he said the F1 was toxic, that it wasn't any fair, and mainly it was because of the Honda power unit, but yeah. If he had stayed an extra year in Formula 1, though, he might got a podium, so what does he know? Anyway, so he said, quote unquote, that if he was to return, that it would be in a championship winning car, and quite frankly the Renault isn't. So why has he come back, you might be asking, knowing pretty much nothing about F1, because judging by my views, nobody cares about my F1 videos. Well, there's a few things. F1 for Fernando Alonso has always been unfinished business. He's gone off. I actually saw him in the 24 hours. I actually met him in the 24 hours of Le Mans when he won it. The first one, not the second one. I met him and gave him good luck. Very nice man. Actually nicer than Jenson Button, surprisingly. Even though you think Jenson Button... I have a bone to pick with Jenson Button, but we won't worry about that. By the way, if you're watching Jenson, I do actually quite like you as a person, but you're a little bit... you weren't really that nice to me when I met you, so... get some signed merch over my way, and maybe I'll forgive you. Anyway, moving on about my slight bone to pick with Jenson Button. Yeah. Alonso's gone off. He's won 24-hour Le Mans. He's tried to win Indy 500, but COVID-19 stopped him, which, well, it's kind of the ultimate screw you, isn't it? But yeah. So he's back. F1 for Fernando Alonso has always been unfinished business, as I said. He left very frustrated, very angry that it wasn't a level playing field, and that the gamble he took to bring this McLaren Honda glory back really, really, really messed up and went to shit. I mean, that is literally saying something. It was the worst team, possibly slower than last year's Williams. Like, that kind of slow. I mean, genuinely that slow. Alonso, to me, has always been a very underrated driver, and one that has been the source of quite a lot of hate, mainly because of the things that comes out of his yap. And I'd have to agree, sometimes it has been less than choice. But Alonso is incredibly talented, and he deserves a lot more than 2 World Championships. Whether he's going to get another World Championship, whether he's going to get another win with Renault, is highly unlikely. I do believe he is signing a 2-year contract, which means that the rule changes will be in force for 2022, the second year of the contract. So basically, what he is there to do is to get Renault in a good position for F1 2022 with the rule changes. And that is a rather interesting prospect, because if you have, and we don't know anything about, well, I mean, literally, Mercedes could be at the back of the grid for 2022 because it's a complete overhaul. I mean, everybody's advantage gets wiped. It is ground zero. So you could have a case where in 2022, Renault are good. Now, it's unlikely, but it's not to say that it's impossible. And I think that's what attracting Alonso back. It's more the case that he knows that he's not going to get in a championship car, mainly because he said no to Red Bull twice. He pissed off every single Tifosi in Maranello there is, even though all the Tifosi actually kind of want him back. It's more the managing staff that don't want him back. And Mercedes, well, Hamilton will never really have him, because if you guys know what happened to Fernando and Hamilton when they were teammates, I highly suggest you do, because, well, it was interesting. Let's just say it was interesting. But yeah. Now, Cyril Abiteboul and Fernando Alonso both came out in a statement saying very boring and obvious things like, oh, we're working towards 2021, or 2022, sorry, and, he was an experienced driver. But some people have been going around saying that, is he actually the right choice? Because you have the likes of Guan Yu Zhou, you have a whole lot of young talent in the Renault Driver Academy. Like, why not recruit someone young? And as a very good YouTuber who was watching, Sean from the F1 Word, Renault have been trying, to obviously stay in F1. I mean, there's a heavy pressure in the Renault board that they want to quit F1. And obviously there are people within Renault and everything who don't want that to happen, and now they've committed long term, but they're trying to get competitive. They're trying to make it a top 4 and not a top 3 teams. And for that, I mean, they have Esteban Ocon, they had Daniel Ricciardo, that he was meant to be that leader, and then obviously Ricciardo left to go to McLaren, which Renault were not expecting at all. I don't think anybody was really expecting that. Although, I mean, there is an argument to say that people were expecting as well, because, Daniel wasn't happy at Renault. But, like, even so, Renault need an experienced driver. And were they going to get that with Nico Hülkenberg? No. And if I never see Nico Hülkenberg in an F1 car again, I think it'll be doing the world a service. Sebastian Vettel was a very good option as well, but we don't know what his contract's going to be like. We don't know if he wants to quit, if he wants to stay. And I covered that in an earlier video, so I'm not really going to get too much into it. But Alonso was a really, really, almost like too good of a choice. They need someone experienced, they need someone who is quick, and they need someone who is a proven race winner. And Alonso fits the bill perfectly. Now, if you're going to be saying, well, what on ground, or on what grounds, because, I mean, he won Le Mans, but he was in the best car, hands down. Yeah, that's absolutely fair, but Alonso also has gone for IndyCar. Yeah, he hasn't won, that's completely fair, but that always hasn't been his fault. And it's new motorsport and everything like that. Alonso is still very much a good F1 driver. I think he's only about 39. He is an incredible driver. And yes, you have young talent. Guan Yu Zhou, though, he doesn't actually have the required points on the super license as of right now. At the end of the season on the F2 calendar, he could. But I actually don't think he's the right choice. I haven't been too impressed with him. But even so, I don't think he's quite right for F1 yet. I think he needs a little bit more time to mature. In 2 or 3 years' time, when Fernando finally does retire, he will retire knowing that he did everything he could to win another race, to win another World Championship. To get that car for 2022 right, set up right, the team in a strong position, and then you recruit the likes of Guan Yu Zhou, who can drive the wheels off of it. That's what they need to be doing. And I think, yeah, I'm a little bit of an Alonso fanboy. Yes, I think it is an absolute dream that he's coming back, but I think he's also the right choice. And that's the critical thing. So often, when teams get new drivers, it's obviously the wrong choice, or, the fans would have gone for somebody else. This is right, okay? F1, like Liberty Media want Alonso back in F1. I think Alonso really needs to be back in F1 because, as you said, it's unfinished business and it's basically now or never if he's going to get a drive again. He's realised he's not going to get a top 3 team seat. He knows that Renault is the best option he has to win or even to get on the podium again. If we can see Alonso on the podium, I think that is a complete win for F1. Hands down, that is a complete win. There's more details to be announced, his salary, everything like that, and I will be keeping you up to date on the F1 driver market and everything like that. But yeah, let me know what you think of Alonso coming back. Do you think it was the right choice? Who would you have gone for? And do you think we will see Fernando Alonso on the podium again? Anyways, guys, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, we will be back tomorrow with the Styrian Grand Prix preview, and on Friday, all going well, with my first livery Friday. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you later. Goodbye.
Sometimes I feel so deaf. I'm calling on you cause I can't do it myself. Like this going to make up for the years and tears. Mercedes